Hey traders, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at my personal trading performance in my live WeBull brokerage account that I've been trading on since 2020. This is one of my main accounts that I trade publicly, and the purpose of me showing this is not simply to show off my trading results, but rather to also show you guys some transparency in an industry where I think there's a lot missing in terms of transparency. So the goal of this video is to walk you through some of my trading performance, show you what I think is a realistic kind of rate of return for somebody who is doing this day in, day out. I mean, I spend many hours every day focused on this stuff, and I've done it for nearly a decade now. So we're going to be going through some of my personal trading performance. So let's go ahead and jump in. So first of all, I just want to say this is one of my main accounts, but it is not the only trading account that I do use. But I would kind of classify this trading as moderate to aggressive. The target rate of return, which varies greatly month to month, is usually something like 1 to 2 to 3% per month. That is really what I'm looking for, because this is a larger, funded, or not a funded account, but it is a larger capital account. Now, this is personal funds, so I'm also looking to just trade this conservatively. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to show you the overall returns or the results of this trading account going back to 2020. And what we'll do is we'll just go one by one here. So in the last 5 days, the account is up $10,600. That's a 1% return. 1 month, this is up 5.85%. The 3 month is 8%. This 6 month is 13.2%. Year to date, which is not a full 6 months, I think it's just about 5 full months, we're up 9.78% in this account. 1 year, about 23%. And if we go all time, you can see this is the overall total trading returns on my WeBull brokerage account here. And this account goes back since 2020, very end of March 2020. I initially loaded up the account with much smaller amounts, so you can see that the returns have kind of accelerated over time as I have significantly deposited to this account periodically throughout the years. So my total return since the start of this account is about 179% gained. And comparing my returns against the S&P 500, you can see that during that same period, which has been a rockstar period for the S&P 500 itself, the S&P 500 is up just about 113%. Now, I will say that although my returns are not, tripled or quadrupled the returns of the S&P 500, I'm very happy with these results considering, like I said, the S&P 500 has had a very strong last 5-year performance. In fact, outpacing, I believe, even the usual rate of return of the S&P. So that's to me something to be proud of, is to be able to beat the S&P 500 over this period was quite difficult. And even though I'm not up 500% relative to the 100% that the S&P has made, I'm still very happy with the returns that I've made. And I'm not simply just buying and holding the S&P 500. This is active trading, so please understand this is a lot of work to outpace the S&P by 60%. But over long stretches of time, if you can outpace the S&P 500 in any capacity, your wealth can compound very nicely over time. So next we'll zoom in over here and I'll show you the periodical returns of this account. And please understand it's not been a straight line, and I'll show you that here as we go through. So 2024 so far has been a very green year. I've yet, knock on wood here, I haven't yet taken a losing month this year. I fully anticipate that I probably will. I average a couple losing months per year with my swing trading style. I'll talk a little bit more about my trading style in just a moment, but first let's go through some of these returns. So in May, I'm up 41,000 on this account, which is about 4.38% gain. I'm up 1.85% in April, 2% in March, 1% in February, and just shy of 1% in January. So again, targeting here really like 1 to 3%, but it varies greatly for me because of my trading style. And if you're familiar, my style is very momentum focused. So I'm trailing stops on big winners that have a fundamental, reason to be long. I focus very heavily on the macro. So I'm looking at what central banks are doing. I'm looking at economic data all day long with the tools that I use at my company, A1 Trading. We'll talk about that in just a moment. And I just want to pause really quick and also show you that the reason, or tell you the reason that I am sharing these returns is also because if you're somebody who watches my content, then you're also familiar with the fact that I sell something, right? I run a software company called A1 Trading, and we build software tools for traders. I use those tools day in, day out. It is what I use to trade. And I think that candidly, that showing my trading performance adds some validity to the methodology that I preach so heavily about. So in a self-serving way, that is kind of why I do these videos, but also for, respect to my audience. I think if you spend time watching somebody, you should know that they actually trade real accounts, that there's not some big gimmick or game that they're trying to pull over your eyes. I'm not here saying, make 20% per month or anything remotely close to that. I'm talking very heavily about just slow and steady conservative gains over time, which can, do you very well in the long term if you stick to kind of that conservative compounding approach in the markets. Anyways, let's keep going. 2023 was also a very good year, but you can see, again, I took 4 red months last year, and you can see some of my red months are not pretty. Down 26,000, down 22,000. So what goes on in these down months? Well, usually it means I hit a losing streak where I'm trying to catch entries, or I'm looking for pullbacks, and the pullbacks become bigger sell-offs, or things like that. I'll talk more about what I trade heavily in just a second. I predominantly focus on commodities and indices with a mix of option strategies as well. So we'll talk about that in a moment. 2022, this was my tough year, and I talked about this a lot on my YouTube channel. We talked about kind of the difficulties of 2022. It was a bear market year, and because I was on the wrong side of a lot of technology stocks, it hurt, right? So I was trading the NASDAQ on the long side a lot, and I was very much wrong in my timing of the NASDAQ. Now, that being said, I stayed bullish on the NASDAQ, or kind of revitalized my bullishness, and that really helped me in 2023. Most of my gains in 2023 came from, being heavily buying the NASDAQ. And then 2024 has been mostly a commodities year. I've traded a lot of oil and gold, and not nearly as much on the indices side. So, just I do trade a wide basket of things, and each year is usually thematic to a degree, where I'm trading a particular thesis or idea on the markets, and using fundamentals with that. 2022, like I said, was a tough year. You can see several months were red. Most months were red. The only saving kind of grace to this, I suppose, is that I also trade other accounts, and I have other strategies. So during 2022, it was a very good currency trading year for me. So although this year was really tough on my indices and commodities trading, 2022 was actually a fantastic year for my currency trading. So I do like to have other trading accounts and other styles that kind of complement, so that when one trading strategy is doing poorly, like this one in 2022, I can offset it to a degree with some of my more, conservative investing styles that I have. I have an investment account that I'm very conservative in. This is all active trading, but to each their own, right? I have like a basket of different things that I do to keep me sane during a year like this. That's just one tip that I've found over the years, is to have different baskets of activities, whether it be like investing over here so that you're a little level-headed and balanced out for years that are tougher, etc. So here's 2021. 2021 was a really good year overall, and 2020 was probably percentage-wise my best year ever. I was pretty aggressive during this year, and had some very, very nice months overall. Did have some red months, down 9%. Again, this is a very aggressive style that I was trading in the early days of this account, but over time I have kind of pulled it back a little bit and become gradually more conservative in my approach. Not to mention, when the account size has gotten bigger over time, I've also very greatly reduced my risk, because again, I don't need to go for nearly as much in order to make a good living from just the trading on this account alone. So I wanted to take a second also to talk about what I trade and what kind of strategies I use. So I am a momentum trader, but I also do some options trading as well. So I like to sell cash secured puts and covered calls. That is something that I do with a portion of this account. I also have some longer term stock holdings that I'm looking to build out, but currently I have very few. So I just have PayPal and Starbucks, and I plan to kind of add a little bit of this portfolio dedicated to holding some growth names that I like, but I'm waiting for a pullback personally to do that this year. If we see that, then great. Then otherwise I'll just stick to, kind of what I predominantly use this account for, which is, again, momentum trading. So I'm, currently I'm in a gold trade that's going quite well. And, I also trade, the S&P 500. I'm up on VOO right now. So a portion of, I'm long on these two things according to my strategy. XLK is a technology ETF. This is similar to the NASDAQ. So it holds companies like NVIDIA and Microsoft. So I trade sectors, I trade commodities, I trade indices heavily. And so I also trade, bonds. I trade a good mix of everything, I would say, in this account. Predominantly, the only thing I don't really trade too much in this account is currencies, which I use a separate brokerage for. I also just wanted to mention that this account is the same account. You can see my account ID there is the same one that I use directly on tradingview.com. What is amazing about WeBull, which by the way, will be linked down below in the description for you if you'd like to sign up. You do get free shares if you choose to sign up with WeBull. It's an awesome brokerage that I've used for, as you can see, a number of years here, and I've been really happy with all of the different analytics and tools that they offer you. Again, their platform itself is amazing. So check out WeBull, link is in the description. But I wanted to mention, that, when I trade directly on TradingView, what I love about WeBull is I can actually pull up my positions and I can manage them from directly in tradingview.com, where I'm also doing like my analysis. And I find that to be incredibly convenient about using WeBull. So earlier in the video, I also mentioned that my company, A1 Trading, builds software tools for traders. So I just wanted to take a second to show you the predominant tool that I'm using behind the scenes to analyze the markets. It is called the A1 Edge Finder. The Edge Finder, if you have not heard about it before, allows traders to look at a wide basket of macroeconomic data. The objective with building this tool has been to combine many different data sources into one platform where traders can view fundamentals in depth. So for example, if I go over here and I want to look at like GDP growth statistics, I can pull that up. If I want to look at like PMI data or retail sales, I can also pull up jobs data. So I can, in one platform, observe a ton of macroeconomic data, which is really what I focus on in my trading analysis. I know that can be a little bit daunting at first, but with the right software and the right education, fundamental analysis has changed everything for me over the years. It is my primary confirmation signal. Somebody asked me recently on my channel, they commented and they said, Nick, what do you use for your confirmation signal? And I mentioned that the answer for me is fundamental analysis, right? Fundamentals plus simple price action has worked wonders for me over the years, and it is the primary way that I've been able to generate the performance that I'm showing you here. Now, the top setups page that is seen right here, the main objective of this page is then to take all of that economic data that we're pulling in and generate bullish and bearish readings on various currencies, commodities, indices, etc. And then that is where I will take these ideas generated, like that gold trade that I'm in. I showed you earlier. Let me pull that up again. Like the gold trade that I'm in right now, basically the Edge Finder generated this bullish bias, and then I go and I look at the charts, I find setups that I like, I manage my risk, I manage my positions, etc. And this is, again, the primary engine behind my trading strategy is the Edge Finder. And that is kind of the purpose of this, is looking at everything from the commitment of traders data, retail sentiment. We're looking at all of this data and having software to basically parse through it for us so that we can get a kind of overall picture of whether things are bullish or bearish. Now, this is by no means a holy grail indicator or anything like that. Again, you can see I'm not making 50% per month or anything like that, but it is an incredibly useful tool to have software that helps you parse through economic data and generate bullish and bearish biases from that. So again, I just mentioned I do sell this within my company, A1 Trading. You can find more information at a1trading.com. And if you'd like to try out the software, we'll leave a link to this down below in the description. Thank you very much for checking out some of my trading performance. I hope this was helpful to you in understanding what real trading looks like. And with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. If you're looking to improve as a trader, we've got some cool free resources here that I wanted to share as we close today's video. Down below in the description, there is a link to join our Discord channel or our Telegram channel. And we also have our website, a1trading.com, where traders can get access to free course material to help you improve as a trader. Remember, we are also live Monday through Friday on this channel around 9:30 a.m. US Eastern, broadcasting most live news events and that sort of thing. So hope to see you there. And also, we do have a couple videos here showing up on the screen. If either of these seems like it might be helpful to you, then make sure to click here or here, and we'll see you there.